What would you do if the person you married wasn't who they said they were? Amma seemed perfect, beautiful, educated, from a good family. But when her husband's colleague walked into that hospital room, Adani? What are you doing here? Everything she built, every lie she told, was about to come crashing down. Her real name wasn't Amma. Her family wasn't from Tamale. And the truth? It came out in the most shocking way possible. This story will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about love, lies, and the price of deception. Stay tuned, because what happens next will blow your mind. Hello family, before we start this intriguing story, we would like you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified once we drop new story. Also comment the time you are watching this and country you are watching from. The morning sun painted the streets of Accra in golden light as Amma adjusted her wedding dress one last time. Her small apartment in East Legon buzzed with excitement. Her best friend Akalugo was pinning flowers in her hair while her neighbor, Auntie Rose, fussed over the dress. "You look like a queen, my dear," Auntie Rose smiled, tears in her eyes. "Kabi is so lucky to have you." Amma's hands trembled slightly as she stared at herself in the mirror. Today she would marry the man of her dreams, Dr. Kwame Asante, one of Accra's most respected doctors. But deep in her heart, a secret weighed heavy like a stone. "Are you nervous?" Akalugo asked, noticing her friend's quiet mood. "Just happy," Amma whispered, forcing a smile. She couldn't tell them the truth. She couldn't tell anyone that everything Kabi knew about her past was a lie. The Christ the King Cathedral was packed with guests. Expensive cars lined the street outside. Kabi's family sat on one side, lawyers, doctors, and business owners dressed in their finest clothes. On Amma's side, the seats were nearly empty except for a few neighbors and Akalugo. When the music started, Amma walked down the aisle slowly. Every step felt heavy. Kabi stood at the altar in his white suit, his face glowing with love and pride. His mother, Mrs. Asante, watched with approval. She had always liked Amma, the sweet girl from a good family, who worked as a teacher. "Do you, Amma Osei, take Kabi to be your husband?" the pastor asked. Amma's voice caught in her throat. For a moment she almost told the truth right there. Almost confessed that her real name wasn't even Amma Osei. But then she looked at Kabi's loving eyes. "I do," she whispered. The wedding reception was held at the Golden Tulip Hotel. The decorations were beautiful, white and gold everywhere, just like in the magazines. Amma sat beside Kwame at the high table, still feeling like she was in a dream. During dinner, Kwame's uncle, a retired judge, started asking questions. "So Amma, remind me again, which school did your father attend? I think I might have known him." Amma's heart raced. She had told Kwame her father was a retired teacher who died when she was young. Another lie. "Oh, he went to Achimota school," she said quickly, remembering a story she had practiced many times. "Interesting. What year?" "I was there in the 70s. Sweat formed on her forehead despite the air conditioning. The 60s, I think." Kwame squeezed her hand gently. "Uncle, let's not stress my wife with too many questions on our wedding day," he laughed. But Amma saw the uncle's eyes narrow slightly. She excused herself and rushed to the bathroom. In the hotel bathroom, Amma stared at herself in the mirror. Her makeup was perfect, her dress was beautiful, but inside she felt sick. She pulled out her phone and almost called her real family, the family she had cut off completely 2 years ago. Kemi walked in and found her crying. "Amma, what's wrong? This is your wedding day." "Kemi, what if Kwame finds out I'm not who he thinks I am?" "What do you mean?" Kemi looked confused. Amma wanted to tell her everything. About her real name. About her real family. About why she had to lie. But she couldn't. Not now. Not ever. "Nothing," she wiped her tears. "I'm just overwhelmed." Later that evening, Kwame carried Amma over the threshold of their new house in Cantonments, a beautiful 4-bedroom home with a garden and a swimming pool. Everything Amma had ever dreamed of. "Welcome home, Mrs. Asante," Kwame smiled, setting her down gently. The house was furnished with expensive furniture. There were fresh flowers in every room. Kwame had thought of everything. "I love you so much, Amma," he said, holding her close. "I can't believe how lucky I am. A beautiful wife from a good family who shares my values, who understands the importance of respect and honesty." Each word hit Amma like a knife. Honesty. If only he knew. "I love you too," she whispered, but the words felt like sand in her mouth. That night, as Kwame slept peacefully beside her, Amma lay awake staring at the ceiling. She had everything she wanted, a loving husband, a beautiful home, respect in society. But she had built it all on lies. She thought about her real family, probably sitting in their small house in Nima, wondering why she had disappeared from their lives. She thought about her real past, the one she had buried so deep that sometimes she almost believed her own lies. As the clock struck midnight, Amma made a silent promise to herself. She would be the perfect wife. She would make Kwame so happy that he would never need to question her past. She would bury her secrets so deep that they would never surface. But secrets, like seeds, have a way of growing in the dark. And Amma's past was about to catch up with her in the most unexpected way. 3 weeks after the wedding, Amma woke up in her beautiful bedroom to the sound of Kabi getting ready for work. The morning light streamed through the expensive curtains, and she could smell coffee brewing downstairs. Everything looked perfect, but her stomach twisted with worry every morning. "Good morning, beautiful," Kabi said, adjusting his tie in the mirror. He was already dressed in his doctor's coat. "I have surgery at 8 a.m., but I'll be home for dinner. Maybe we can go see your family this weekend?" Amma's heart stopped. My family? Yes, your parents. I feel bad that they couldn't make it to the wedding because your mother was sick. I'd love to meet them properly. Amma had told him her parents lived far away in Tamale and her mother was too ill to travel. Another lie she now had to maintain. "Oh, she's still very weak. Maybe next month," Amma said quickly, getting out of bed. Kabi kissed her forehead. "Of course. I just want them to know how much I love their daughter." After he left, Amma sat on the bed and buried her face in her hands. How long could she keep this up? Later that morning, Amma was cleaning the house when the doorbell rang. She opened it to find a young woman about her age, dressed in a simple Ankara dress and flip-flops. The woman looked shocked to see her. "Ifia?" the woman whispered. Amma's blood turned cold. Ifia was her real name, the name she had abandoned 2 years ago. I think you have the wrong house," Amma said quickly, trying to close the door. But the woman put her hand on the door. "It's me, Fatima. From Nima. I've been looking for you everywhere. Your mother, she's been asking about you." Amma's legs felt weak. Fatima was her childhood friend from the Nima slum where she grew up. They used to sell pure water together on the streets of Accra to help their families. "Please just go away," Amma whispered, looking around to make sure no neighbors were watching. "Ifia, what happened to you? Why did you disappear? And why are you calling yourself Amma? This house, how did you—" "My name is Amma now. Amma Asante. And I don't know any Ifia," Amma said firmly. Fatima's eyes filled with tears. "Your little brother Yusuf is sick. He needs medicine. Your mother thought maybe, if you were doing well?" "I said I don't know you." Amma raised her voice, then quickly looked around again. "Please leave before I call security." Fatima stared at her old friend for a long moment, then slowly backed away. "I understand," she said sadly. "But Ifia, sorry Amma, running away from who you are won't make you happy." As Fatima walked away, Amma slammed the door and slid down to the floor, crying. That evening, Kabi took Amma to a charity dinner at the Labadi Beach Hotel. All of Accra's elite were there: doctors, lawyers, politicians and business owners. Amma wore a beautiful blue dress that cost more than her real family made in 3 months. "Ladies and gentlemen," the MC announced, "tonight we're raising money for the children of Nima, one of Accra's most underprivileged communities." Amma's champagne glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. "Are you okay, darling?" Kabi asked, concerned. I just felt dizzy for a moment." As they showed pictures of Nima on the big screen, the crowded houses, the dirty streets, the struggling families, Amma felt sick. These were her people. This was where she came from. And here she was, pretending to be someone else while they asked for donations to help her community. "It's so sad," Mrs. Asante, Kabi's mother, said from across the table. "These people need to work harder to lift themselves out of poverty. Thank God my son married a girl from a good family who understands the importance of education and proper upbringing." Each word was like a slap to Amma's face. The next day, Kabi's uncle, the retired judge who had asked questions at the wedding, called Kabi to his office. "Sit down, my boy," Uncle Kofi said seriously. "I need to talk to you about your wife." "What about Amma?" Kabi asked, confused. "Something doesn't add up about her story. I've been asking around. No one at Achimota School remembers a teacher named Osei from the 60s. And the primary school where she claims to work. They say she only started there 2 years ago with no references from previous schools." Kabi frowned. "Uncle, maybe you're mistaken? I'm not finished. I had a friend check the records. There's no death certificate for an Edward Osei who died 5 years ago like she claims." "Kabi, I think your wife is hiding something." "That's impossible," Kabi stood up angrily. Amma is honest and pure. She would never lie to me. I hope you're right, my boy. But be careful. Sometimes the people we trust most are the ones who hurt us deepest. That evening, Kabi came home quiet and thoughtful. During dinner, he watched Amma carefully as she talked about her day teaching at the school. Amma, he said suddenly, tell me more about your father. What was his favorite subject to teach? Amma's fork froze halfway to her mouth. She had told so many lies about her fake father that she couldn't remember all the details. He taught English, she said slowly. Last week you said he taught mathematics. The silence in the dining room was heavy. Amma's heart pounded so loud she was sure Kabi could hear it. Maybe I misspoke. I was thinking about my uncle who taught mathematics. Kabi nodded, but she could see doubt in his eyes for the first time since they met. Amma, is there anything about your past that you haven't told me? Anything at all? This was her chance. She could tell him everything about growing up in Nima, about her real name, about her family who sold things on the street to survive. She could tell him how she had worked so hard to escape poverty, how she had studied at night while selling pure water during the day, how she had changed her name and her story to get a job at a better school. But looking at his expensive watch, his designer clothes, his manicured hands that had never known poverty, she lost her courage. No, she whispered. There's nothing. But as they finished dinner in uncomfortable silence, Amma knew that her perfect life was starting to crack. And soon, everything would come crashing down. That night, she lay awake listening to Kabi's breathing. He was sleeping, but she could feel the distance between them growing. Trust, once broken, was like a broken glass. Even if you put it back together, you could still see the cracks. Outside their bedroom window, the lights of Accra twinkled like stars. Somewhere in those lights was Nima, where her real family lived. Where her sick brother needed medicine. Where people who truly knew her were wondering why Ifia had disappeared. Amma closed her eyes and made another promise to herself. She would find a way to help her brother without revealing her identity. She would be more careful with her lies. She would make this work. But deep down she knew the truth was like water, it always finds a way to the surface. 2 months later, Amma thought she had everything under control again. Kabi seemed to trust her more and she had been extra careful with her stories. But at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday night, her phone rang with a number she didn't recognize. Hello, is this Ifia? A panicked voice asked. Amma sat up quickly, making sure Kabi was still sleeping. Who is this? This is Nurse Abina from Ridge Hospital. Your brother Yusuf was brought in an hour ago. He collapsed. We need family members here now. Amma's world stopped. Her little brother, the one she had helped raise, the one who used to wait for her every evening when she came home from selling pure water, was in the hospital. I'll be there, she whispered. She quietly got dressed and wrote a note for Kabi saying she had gone to help a sick student's family. Another lie. At Ridge Hospital, Amma found her real family in the waiting area. Her mother looked older and more tired than she remembered. Her father's clothes were worn and patched. Her younger sister Zara was crying. Ifia, her mother cried, hugging her tightly. You came. We didn't know how to reach you. Where have you been? Her father asked, his voice mixing anger with relief. We looked everywhere. Some people said they saw you in East Legon, but we couldn't find you. Before Amma could answer, the doctor came out, and her blood turned to ice. It was Dr. Mensa, Kabi's colleague and friend. Are you the family of Yusuf al-Hassan? Dr. Mensa asked, then stopped when he saw Amma. Amma? What are you doing here? Amma's mother looked confused. Doctor, this is our daughter Ifia. Yusuf's sister. Dr. Mensa stared at Amma with growing understanding. Ifia al-Hassan? The name hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. There must be some mistake, Amma said quickly. I'm just helping them translate. But Dr. Mensa was already putting the pieces together. He had heard Kabi mention his wife Amma Osei many times. Your brother needs surgery immediately, Dr. Mensa said slowly, still staring at Amma. It will cost 5,000 cedis. Amma's family looked desperate. They didn't have that kind of money. We'll find a way, her father said quietly, but everyone knew they couldn't. Amma excused herself and went to the hospital parking lot. She called her bank to check her account. She had enough money to save her brother. But using it would mean Kabi would see the transaction. There would be questions. She stood there for 30 minutes, torn between saving her brother and protecting her secret. Finally, she went back inside and paid for the surgery anonymously through the hospital's charity fund. She told the nurse to say it was covered by a kind donor. But as she was leaving, she ran straight into Kabi walking through the hospital entrance. Amma? What are you doing here? I got your note about the student's family. Her mind went blank. Oh, the student's family is here. Which student? Maybe I can help. I know most of the doctors here. Just then her mother came running down the hallway. Ifia. Ifia. The doctor says Yusuf will be fine. Someone paid for everything. She stopped when she saw Kabi, then looked between him and Amma with confusion. Who is this man, Ifia? And why is he calling you Amma? The silence in the hospital corridor felt like a lifetime. Kabi looked at Amma's mother, then at Amma, his face changing from confusion to shock to something that looked like heartbreak. Ifia, he said quietly. Amma's mother stepped forward. Yes, this is our daughter Ifia al-Hassan. Do you know her? Ifia al-Hassan, Kabi repeated as if tasting the words. Not Amma Osei. Dr. Mensa appeared at that moment. Kabi. I was just about to call you. Your wife. He stopped, realizing the situation. My wife. Kabi's voice was getting louder. My wife who told me her name was Amma Osei? Whose father was a teacher named Edward? Who said her family lived in Tamale? Amma's mother looked more confused. Teacher? Tamale? Ifia, what is this man talking about? Your father sells shoes at Cantamanto Market. And we live in Nima, not Tamale. Each word hit Kabi like a physical blow. Patients and nurses in the corridor had stopped to watch the drama unfolding. Kabi, please let me explain, Amma begged, reaching for his arm. He stepped back from her touch. Explain what? That our entire marriage is built on lies? That I don't even know my wife's real name? The surgery was successful, Dr. Mensa said quietly, trying to defuse the situation. The boy will recover fully. But Kabi wasn't listening. He was staring at Amma, or Ifia, as if seeing her for the first time. Tell me everything, Kabi said, his voice cold and distant. Right now. In front of your real family. No more lies. Amma looked at her parents, at her crying sister, at the man she loved more than life itself. There was nowhere left to run. My name is Ifia al-Hassan, she began, her voice shaking. I was born in Nima. My father sells shoes. My mother washes clothes for people. We were very poor. Kabi's face was like stone. I sold pure water on the streets after school to help my family. I studied hard, so hard because I wanted a different life. I got a scholarship to training college, but when I graduated, no good school would hire a girl from Nima with no connections. Her mother reached for her hand, but Amma pulled away. So I changed my name. Created a fake background. Said I was from a respectable family. It was the only way to get a job at a decent school, to have a chance at a better life. And me? Kabi asked quietly. Was I just part of your plan for a better life? No. Amma cried. When I met you I fell in love. Real love. But by then I was already living the lie. I was trapped. You could have told me the truth. When you introduced me to your family as the sweet girl from a good family? When your mother talked about how important it was to marry someone from the right background? When your uncle made jokes about poor people at our wedding? Kabi was quiet for a long moment. So you never trusted me. Never believed I could love you for who you really are. I was scared, Amma whispered. No, Kabi said, backing away. You were selfish. You decided what I could and couldn't handle. You decided our love wasn't strong enough for the truth. 3 hours later, Amma sat with her real family in the hospital waiting room. Yusuf was sleeping peacefully after his surgery. Kabi had left without another word. Why did you lie to us too? Her sister Zara asked. Why did you disappear? We thought something terrible had happened to you. I wanted to help you from a distance, Amma said. I sent money sometimes anonymously. We didn't need your money, her father said firmly. We needed our daughter. Her mother held her hand. Ifia, running away from your family, from yourself. It doesn't bring happiness. It brings loneliness. That evening, Amma returned to the house in cantonments to find her bags packed by the door. Kabi was sitting in the living room, still in his hospital scrubs. I've been thinking all day, he said without looking at her. About us, about trust, about love. Kabi, please. I loved Amma Osei, he continued. But Amma Osei never existed. How can I trust someone who lied about everything, her name, her family, her past, her dreams? But I'm still the same person who loves you. No, you're not. The person I married would never let her little brother suffer in the hospital while she lived in luxury. The person I married would never be ashamed of her own family. He finally looked at her, and she saw that his eyes were red from crying. I might have been able to love Ifia from Nima, he said softly. But I'll never know now because you never gave me the chance to try. 6 months later, Ifia, she had changed her name back, was living in a small apartment near Nima. She had lost her teaching job when the truth came out, but she found work at a community school in her neighborhood. The pay was much less, but she was helping children from families like her own. Yusuf had recovered completely and was back in school. Her family had forgiven her, though it took time to rebuild their trust. One evening, as she was walking home from work, she saw Kabi's car at a traffic light. For a moment, their eyes met through the window. He looked sad but not angry anymore. She raised her hand in a small wave, and after a pause, he nodded back. That night, Ifia sat in her small room and wrote in her diary. I learned that lies, even ones told from fear or desperation, always hurt the people we love most. I wanted to escape my past, but I learned that our past makes us who we are. There's no shame in coming from humble beginnings. The shame is in denying the people who loved us when we had nothing. I lost the man I loved because I was too afraid to trust him with the truth. I lost years with my family because I was ashamed of them. But I found something too. I found myself again. I found peace in being honest about who I am. True love isn't about finding someone who loves the perfect version of you. It's about finding someone who loves you despite your flaws, your struggles, your imperfect past. But that person can only love the real you if you're brave enough to show them who you really are. I may have lost my marriage, but I gained something more important, the courage to be myself. And maybe someday that will be enough to find real love again. Moral lesson. The truth will always surface no matter how deeply we try to bury it. When we build relationships on lies, even lies told from fear or desperation, we deny the people we love the chance to accept and love us for who we truly are. There is no shame in humble beginnings, in struggling families, or in working hard to improve your life. The real shame comes from being so afraid of judgment that we sacrifice honesty, trust, and authentic relationships. Love built on deception is like a house built on sand. It may look beautiful for a while, but when the storms come, it will not stand. Only relationships built on the solid foundation of truth, acceptance, and mutual respect can weather life's challenges. Sometimes, the very people we think will reject us for our past are the ones who would love us more for our honesty and courage in sharing it. But we'll never know unless we're brave enough to be vulnerable and trust them with our truth. The greatest tragedy is not being rejected for who you are, it's losing someone who might have loved the real you because you were too afraid to let them try. Thank you for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting videos like this.